Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Today I will share you a story about a wise old monk and his young, impatient student. It's a story of patience, of learning and of discovering true strength. High up in the mountains, in a peaceful, quiet monastery, there lived these two monks. The younger one was eager, full of energy, always pushing to learn faster, to do better. And then there was the old monk, a man of quiet wisdom who seemed to find lessons in the smallest, simplest things. One day, the young monk was struggling with a martial arts move. He practiced over and over by the river, getting more and more frustrated each time he failed. He marched up to the old monk, who was sitting calmly beneath a tree, watching him with a gentle smile. "Master," the young monk blurted out, "I've been practicing for hours. I can't get it right. Why am I not improving?" The old monk looked at him calmly and said, "Young one, you're like a seed that wants to bloom before it's ready. Patience. You can't force a flower to open." The young monk sighed, feeling the weight of those words, but deep inside he didn't quite understand. A few days later, the old monk invited the young monk on a walk. They started down a rocky, narrow path leading up the mountain. The young monk, impatient as always, walked quickly, eager to reach the top. But the old monk moved slowly, deliberately, pausing here and there. Frustrated, the young monk called back, "Master, why are you walking so slowly? We'll never get there at this pace." The old monk stopped, smiled, and pointed to the tiny pebbles scattered across the path. "Do you see these stones? If you rush, you might trip. Life's like this path. If you focus only on the destination, you'll miss the important steps along the way." The young monk didn't say anything, but he slowed down, matching his master's careful steps. One morning, the old monk gave his student 2 pots to fill with water from the river. One pot was perfect, the other had a crack. The task was simple: carry the water up the mountain without spilling a drop. The young monk did his best. He balanced the pots carefully, taking each step with caution. Yet, when he reached the top, the cracked pot had leaked almost all its water. He looked at the old monk, frustrated. "I failed," he said. The cracked pot was useless. It couldn't hold the water. But the old monk only chuckled and said, "Turn around, young one." The young monk looked back at the path they'd just walked. To his surprise, wildflowers lined the side of the trail where the cracked pot had leaked. The old monk said, "That crack, which you thought was a flaw, brought life to the flowers along our way." You see, our imperfections can lead to unexpected beauty. It's not about being perfect, but about what you create with what you have. One day, a terrible storm came. The wind howled through the mountains, and rain poured down in torrents. The young monk stood in the doorway, watching the storm rage. He was tense, his heart racing, worried that everything around them might be destroyed. But inside the temple, the old monk sat quietly, eyes closed, breathing deeply as if the storm didn't exist. "Master," said the young monk, "aren't you afraid? Aren't you worried that the storm will break everything?" The old monk opened his eyes and said, "You see those trees outside? They bend with the wind, but they do not break. We are like those trees. Strength doesn't mean you won't be shaken, it means you'll still be standing when the storm passes." Slowly, the young monk began to understand. And so, they stood there, side by side, as the first light of morning spread across the mountains. The young monk, no longer in a rush, understood that the journey was the lesson. And the old monk, his work complete, smiled at the dawn of a new day. Life's path is never easy. It's filled with cracks, storms, and pebbles that can trip us up. But if we walk it with patience, if we learn to bend without breaking, we find that the journey shapes us into something stronger, something wiser. So remember, it's not about how quickly you get there. It's about the beauty you create along the way, with all your imperfections. Keep walking, keep growing. Every step is part of your story.